Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm going to be going over Gen Con 2024 and the weirdly insane haul that I brought. Now, I believe I've done this for the past couple of years. If not 2 years, I know I did it last year. So a couple of caveats with this type of video. This is not a look at me and everything that I bought type of video. Like, it's not meant to be an elitist. It's more of me kind of documenting my experience with Gen Con this year and showcasing the new stuff that I have for potential interest of videos that you'd like to see. Like whether they be run-throughs, rankings, or reviews. Now, pretty much everything that I get, I always plan on doing a review for at some point or another. But it's the kind of, I used to do a series called What's in the Box, which was whenever I was ordering a lot of games online, but that doesn't really happen anymore. So now it's just kind of me talking about Gen Con. And first things first, this Gen Con was awesome. Like, if you watch my 2023 video, I was like, maybe Gen Con isn't for me anymore. I had this weird just feeling, and around the time was also when I was debating on continuing the channel. So it was a lot of like, just meh feelings. And I mean, because when last year when we went to Gen Con, it was like we got there early so I could go potentially get specific games. And then we would leave at like noon to go to the Airbnb and just play games there. So I felt like I was just going on vacation to stay at an Airbnb. This year it was not the case. It was the total opposite of that, because I was at the con, the entire time, sometimes a little bit longer, but then I was actually going back to the Airbnb to sleep to get ready for the con. So it was a little bit different, and this was the first year that I've ever actually worked. Like, I actually demoed for a game. We'll talk about one of the games that I got that I demoed for. But that kind of forced me to stay at the con till everything closed. And I don't know, I was just in a way better mood. I was talking to like people, like I had connections because of everyone who watches the channel has kind of, I mean, because in the past, like I had so many, or I few subscribers that if I wanted to actually make connections, I had to kind of just advertise myself, and I've never been one to enjoy doing that. So this year, whenever I was going to designers of games that I've already liked, like they knew who I was, and that was, again, not for me to be like, do you know who I am? But it was nice. It was like, hey, yeah, I'm covering your game, clearly not being paid to do it, and it was like exciting to, riff with them. And I have a ton of cool stories, but I don't want to sit here and do like a whole vlog entry. Let's talk about some of the games that I got. Really in no particular order or like theming. It's just there are some bigger games that I'll showcase at the end of what I got, but the rest are just kind of here. So I'll go off the first one that I got, and that is Zoo Vadis. A Reiner Knizia game, which I don't actually really play a lot of his games. I think I'd have to really look at his catalog to see if I've played anything. And this one, I remember a lot of people raving about it, and a friend of mine, Zach, he talked highly of it as a, very strong negotiation game, because apparently you have like special powers as these animals that are mainly used for your negotiative purposes. Like, they're nothing that you inherently get. It's all ways for you to negotiate. So I remember hearing good things about this. It was, I don't even remember where I got it, but I think Zoo Vadis could be, politics and intrigue in the animal kingdom. Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things, so maybe it could be another negotiation style game. I know you're trying to move up these tracks, and you need specific ways to do that, and I think there are 7 animal factions. I have no idea if this was kickstarted or what, but here's the first one, Zoo Vadis. But yeah, I was in a great mood pretty much the entire time for Gen Con. Like, I don't know. Well, the first day was actually really, like, I was pissed off, and I was like, this is gonna suck. The next thing, the Egregious Ephemera. This is for Epic Spell Wars. It is the Volume 2. Last year they released a box, Magnus something. I feel like last year it was like hard to get, and I was able to snag one of those. And then there's this. Funny enough, I actually got my Epic Spell Wars Annihilation 3 in while I was at Gen Con. And I was like, cool. And they released a new Epic Spell Wars that I bought there, not realizing I actually ordered it with my Annihilation 3 campaign. So I'm like, cool, now I have duplicates. But there's also a storage system now for Epic Spell Wars. So we have this. I know this is basically a completely empty box. It has like a few cards on it, but it looks cool. And there was a second one, so I picked it up while at Cryptozoic. Yeah, so the first day, because again, I demoed. I'll talk about the game I demoed. That was just, not too bad. So that is Overlords of Infamy, which, David is a friend of mine, and he asked if I wanted to help him run events at Gen Con, and I was like, yeah, sure. And there was like, perks of working at the con, but I didn't also realize that there was a second edition, because I have a copy of this, but it's actually first edition, and I have the copy of the expansion, but it wasn't really compatible with my first edition, so I was able to get a second edition copy, which was very nice. This one I will be doing a review over very shortly, and the expansion, because of me demoing it so much at the con. I have a lot actually to say about this, but if you're not familiar, this is a worker placement resource management game where you play as wacky overlords trying to bring as much misery to the kingdom of good, and this is the expansion that adds to that. So yeah, I almost feel like I was about to go in my whole spiel of demo mode. But demoing at the con was interesting. Like, I always felt like if you demoed, you were going there to work. Hey, I would like to go on vacation and work. It never made any sense. Even if you're paid to be there, it's like, but you're not seeing the con. You're not doing events. You're not, in the exhibit hall at all. So why, like, what's the point in going, especially if you're not demoing a bunch of different games, but the same one over and over? That was an experience. Like, I think at the very first day, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm ever doing this again. And by the end of the con, I'm like, I'd help out for a few hours, because I got to meet a lot of really cool people, got to meet some not so cool people. I didn't have like too many crazies that were going to be actually demoing. Mostly, like 95% of the people I think were awesome. So that was an experience as well. Next is Portal's AI Space Puzzle, and apparently some extreme scenarios. I know nothing about this game. I went to Portal. I went to talk and see if they had the Monkey for Robinson Crusoe add-on that for zero reason was an add-on that I don't have. And they didn't, which was a shame, but not like I really need it. I just have a stupid empty slot on my where the vacuum sealed tray where the mini's at. But I guess this is like a puzzle game. Use your limited communication to help the astronauts repair the ship with scenarios. It says infinite replayability, then immediately says 40 game scenarios, but I guess everything's randomly placed. I don't know. No idea, but I don't think Ignacy was there. It was some other guy who was doing a lot of the advertisement, so I wonder if Ignacy stepped down, like with Portal, or if he just does marketing. I'm not too on the ins and outs of Portal games. He probably stepped away with the apparent debacle of the Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition, which I didn't focus too much. I'm just like, oh hey, I got my copy. Cool. But yeah, so that's AI Space Puzzle, got from Portal. This one is one that I was kind of excited for. Happy Home by Alley Cat Games. I know this is a polyomino style game where you are decorating your house. Gives me very Dream Home vibes. And, I mean, Dream Home is pretty light. It's also been forever since I played it. But I'm a sucker for polyominoes. The video game Unpacking is such a charming, delightful game that is just it's a comfort game. Not that I'm saying that this is what it's going to be, but the concept of decorating a house just kind of works for me. So I'm excited to see what this one is about. I know Alley Cat Games has some products on their line that a lot of people like. So there's Happy Home. Let's see. What else was crazy about the con? No controversies that I'm aware of. I think no one stole a bunch of Magic cards. There was no disaster of a line for Lorcana. There was no COVID mask and wristband shit. It was, I mean, this was the first Gen Con that sold out since the 50th anniversary, which was the first con I ever went to. So this last one in 2024 and the one I think in 2017 is I think when the 50th anniversary was, both sold out. And there was just a vibe. There's an air of I don't know, I think companies just are kind of getting back into their pre-COVID position. Everyone just seemed to be in a great mood. Everyone was nice that I talked to. There was a couple as I was leaving because I was actually given an extra set of Overlords of Infamy that seemed like intrigued by it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to even try the sell list because that seems like a pain. So here you go. And they were from Montreal. And that was really cool because they were like, oh, we'll give it justice. We'll do a review. So I was like leaving and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And ran back. And I'm like, wait, did you guys say you were reviewers? Like, I was like, maybe we can do a collab thing. Like I'm doing with like Ethan if you've been watching recent videos with me and him from 115 Gaming. But they were like, oh no, well we're just talking about like on Board Game Geek. And the guy was like so grateful that he was like, oh, I have to give you something. And I'm like, you know what? Subscribe to the channel. It's free. You could even unsubscribe like as we walk away. Or if you hate the game, it's like, man, that guy gave me a shit game. But they were incredibly nice. I hope they actually watch this and comment. That would be neat. But the vibe was just completely different this year. And maybe it was me and like my headspace last year to this year, or working made me have to be in like a professional kind of like more exciting personality so I can have people who paid to play the game have a good time. But it carried like the entire con. Like I don't know. Next one that I was intrigued by and I was actually able to grab the all-in or deluxe edition is Pagan, Fate of Roanoke. I know this is a 2-player game of a witch hunter going against a witch, asymmetrical, that they both are doing completely different things. I think the witch hunter is trying to figure out who is the witch and kill them, and the witch is trying to complete rituals and potions before she is found out. I'm intrigued by this. It's by Capstone as the publishing company. I'm mainly intrigued by the art because it gives me Darkest Dungeon vibes, but they did sell it because I was asking questions because they were like, oh, well, you know, if the witch hunter kills too many witches, then he loses that way. And I'm like, wait, so can you just randomly kill someone and get it correct? But I guess it takes a lot of work to do that. I think this could work. I don't know many 2-player asymmetric games out there, so this I am very, very intrigued by. So that is Pagan, Fate of Roanoke. Yeah, like I think I went around and I talked to not a bunch, but designers now for games that I know I like. Whereas years ago, like my first con, I remember like the channel was kind of just starting. I was trying to get my name out there, get review copies so that we could kind of like collab and help each other. But again, I felt like I had to advertise myself, and I hated that. So this year, when I talked to Eric for Isofarian Guards. I talked to him for an extensive period of time. I talked to Adam Poots from KDM for a really long time. That was really cool. That was by happenstance too, because we were watching a demo for like a new Nemesis. Me and Devin is who I went with, and I mean he's the KDM guy. And so it's funny because we were sitting down where Adam was sitting down and Devin was like, hey, just so you know, I love all your stuff. I basically have everything. And I was like, who is this guy? And they were like, it's Adam. And I'm like, dude, I just recently started liking KDM again. Like, I'm not like, it's like last time I saw Adam would have been like in 2017 when he was there. And I think I was getting into that game or whenever it was, but it had been years. But I'm not gonna like say for sure, but there might be some cool future content coming up with that interaction. But that was just such an awesome experience. Let's see. Let's talk about this one. Aristea. So this one I went a little bit bonkers on. This has been a game. I'll show you the actual box. This is it gives me very Overwatch vibes. So Aristea, yeah, the ultimate sports showdown where you build out, I believe, a team of 4 to complete objectives, whether it's King of the Hill, Capture the Flag, that style game. And there's a bunch of different characters. As you can see, character pack, character pack, character pack, character pack, character pack. Whoo. Character pack, and I'm missing one. They didn't have one. I don't know which one it was, and clearly this isn't enough, so I have to have all of it. But if I'm gonna buy all of this, it's just one pack. But the lady that was helping me was also extremely nice. She was hyping up the game, and this is one that I actually really want to play with Ethan because I plan on going actually out to where he lives, so might do some more in-person collab videos, which could be really fun or awful. We might meet each other and actually realize we hate one another, but I don't think that'll be the case. But the lady was really talking it up. She was saying how much she loves the game. Now, of course, she could just be lying because she's trying to make a sale, but the vibe I got was genuine, and she was like, yeah, let's see if I can actually order it. And so I got her, I gave her my email, and I'm hoping that maybe she'll get back to me after, the con fatigue goes away. So yeah, everything for Aristea. I see this every year, and I think this was also the first year that I've ever gone that I didn't have, like, a budget, and maybe that helps too when you don't really have to stress about that. And God, that just sounds so fucking condescending. And I really, really don't mean it to be. I'm just trying to figure out why this con worked so well when last year's I was almost... Because I wasn't even going to go this year. That's the crazy thing. Is this year we were only going to go because... Or we were only going because I was asked if I wanted to work it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, why not? Like, sure, I'll help you out as long as, like, whatever, you cover tickets or something. So, actually, I'm just going to put this down. I'm going to start, like, moving stuff down here. So we went, and I don't know. It just completely blew my mind on how different this con felt. And it felt back when I first went to Gen Con. That kind of super excitement, just kind of walking around, having the time of your life, demoing games, and talking to people, meeting people, just even like a lot of just not like designers, just people going to the con. I was like bubbly with and would talk to them, like go sit down to eat at a table with someone. Like I sat down with some people while we were finally getting lunch, and they were from Mexico, and we were talking about the tabletop RPGs that they play. And he told me about one called The Maze, where it's like kind of like one-shots of each maze, but every time you show up, you level up. And I'm like, so that was really cool. Meet a lot of different people from New York and Ohio, and no one from Missouri. It's like, oh, I don't really blame you. And I guess I went in because it's like, well, I wasn't even going to come here, so I have nothing to lose. There was no game that was being released that I was like, I have to have. I had a list of games that I was like, if I can get a copy, cool, but I'm not going to stress about it, and I think that helps a lot. If you want any tips and tricks of Gen Con, go with a budget in mind. That definitely helps. And if you don't have a budget, then you're golden already. Kind of know what you want and try and get there at least one day where you are just as early as possible. You are at the front of the line. And just not stress. In fact, actually, whenever I was waiting to get Pagan, the girl in front of me was waiting to get the Gaia project expansion. And she kept saying, she's like, oh, I hope I get it. And we were kind of looking, and it's like, oh, yeah, I think you will. Cool. And she's like, if I don't, there's no such thing as a board gaming emergency. And I'm like, that's correct. Because I have so many games that are still in fucking shrink. And it's like, clearly, there's so many games to be played. I think that's something to go into, especially when you go to the con. So yeah. This next one is... I hate myself on this one. And this is almost everything for Evian. They had 2 of Season 3. Come on, stay. Okay, I'll just hold you. They had 2 of Season 3. And because I have everything from Season 1 and 2. And you might notice there is 1 box from Season 1 missing. Because I have 1, 2, 3. I have 5 here. And like I said, they had 2 from Season 3. 1 of them was sold out. But their Pledge Manager was still open. I'm like, okay, neat. But the concept of Evian has always, intrigued me. The way the game plays is really good. Because I remember a few years back, I demoed for this one. And I was like, okay, yeah, I really like dueling mages or 1v1 skirmish kind of fights with this style system. And so I really liked it, and I got everything for it that was out back then. And then we get home, and we play it. And I actually have a review of Evian on the channel. It's the Hound and the Hare, I think is what it's called. And I was like, oh no. Because sometimes you'll play stuff at Gen Con and be like, oh, this actually sucks. Like, Gen Con, the hype of Gen Con is very real. The con experience, even if you're aware of it, will still make demos look amazing. So you'll buy it, and then you just have a different vibe and a different setting when you're at home. So I was like, shit, okay, this game fucking sucks. And someone did correct us on a rule that we messed up. There was a relic that was like a counter card that the wording and stuff was made it seem like it just popped back to your hand. And I was like, okay, so I just lost. However, these games also don't have like a really good rulebook, or they didn't. So for edge cases, you just had no way to clarify. Well, this game, we went back, I was looking at it, and I went and talked to one of the designers of it. And he was like, yeah, we did a whole new rule book for one of them. I think it's actually... Oh, which one was it? I think this one. It's either this one or it's one of the blue ones. It might actually be this one. That has, like, the updated rule book in here. But the guy was like, oh, the Hound and the Hare as a starter set. Now, these are all starter boxes. You can just buy this and play it. He's like, that is our most broken and unbalanced box. And I was like, oh. So, a couple things. One, don't release a box that's broken, especially a starter set. So, gonna ding you for that. However, that kind of justifies my experience with the game. And they weren't even selling it. They don't even offer it because of that very reason. So, I played the demo. I actually demoed, where is it? Oh, it was a Season 3. It was an archer and like an assassin. And I was like, okay, this game is good again, so I'll try it one more time. But I got to talk to the designer for it as well, and she was great, and they're already working on Season 4, so maybe potential content from them in the future, at least in terms, but I am going to pull down my review of it so I can give it a fresh perspective. But that's Evian. And you might think, Seth, if you're not sure, if you're going to like it, even though you know that the copy you played is actually well-known and busted, they don't even offer it, why would you get everything for it? And to that, I would say, shut up. So, moving on. Let's look at some smaller stuff. Got the Sagrada. Little Sagrada Glory. This is the only mini of their Great Facades expansion. This was the only one I don't have. I don't know what it brings, but it's more Sagrada, and I finally have it. And I was worried whenever I was buying this. I was like, "Is that the one? Is that the one I don't have? I don't remember." And I didn't want to wait in line and text my girlfriend and be like, "Hey, can you go open up Sagrada and let me know which one?" But I was able to verify it when I got home, and I was correct. So that's Sagrada. Same situation with Endangered. This is the giant panda scenario. I was like, I don't think I have pandas. Because I just got the American Red Wolfen, and I've played that. I'll probably do a small review over that one. But I was like, shit, did I get the giant panda one? I don't know. But also confirmed, I don't have this one. And Endangered, like I said, I played recently, and I was like, this is a very solid co-op game. It makes me sad, because I just hate humanity, and it's like, that's really cool that, we just all of these animals are endangered just because of human interaction. So, but it's a good game, and it brings awareness, and as far as I'm aware, I think they actually, every copy they sell, they donate money to foundations that care for those endangered species, so I'm all about that. Again, same situation with these little roll camera expansions. Little story packs. Last year I got a superhero pack, but I think these two were sold out by the time I ran across them. But they had them this year, so roll camera. I've done reviews for roll camera and its expansion, but the quick short of it is the theming of the game is very wacky, and the event cards and stuff is also hilarious, and I guess hilarious is probably, it's quirky, but the gameplay is really strategic, so it's a good balance there. The one thing that I wanted this entire con, that I was like, there were other, games that I was like, yeah, if I can get it, that'll be cool, but this was the one I really wanted to get, and I could not find the booth. And I think while I was demoing one time, I looked it up on the Gen Con app, which is a horrible app, by the way. But I was able to search the map, and I was like, Roxley, let me look it up. And was finally able to find it, and that is the Radlands expansion, which should not exist. As far as I'm aware, the designer, Daniel Peachnik, said the game is done. It's designed in such a way to be so tight-knit that expansions would just kind of unbalance it. I don't know why this exists then. I think there was some way they were able to get this out of him. I feel like I heard the story, but I don't remember. But it's a small card pack, 32 new cams and 10 rebalance cams. So, pretty happy that I was able to grab a copy of this. I mean, the other really cool thing is, I think maybe the other thing that made this year so much better is because I was able to get everything I wanted. I had 6 games on my list. I got all of them, and that just reduces so much stress. Companies were able to have a decent amount of stock. One game they had 100 copies every day. That's a pretty good chunk. A couple of years ago, the Great Western Trail expansion for the second edition was sold out in 2 seconds. I had to have someone who was working the con, who was able to get in early, snag me a copy because I have connections. But even then, it was a pain in the ass for him to get. And so I feel 100 copies they sell out, that's kind of expected. But you have 4 days to try and get it. And if you can't get it, you're probably going to be able to get it somewhere else. Honestly, that's the great thing about this hobby is if you don't get something, you can find it. You might have to pay a little bit more, or just wait. There is no such thing as a board gaming emergency. So, but yeah, I was able to get every game that I wanted, so whenever I was just looking out getting these, it was just extra stuff. These 4, funny enough, actually this one, Tinder Blocks, was, it's in a little tin. I get Tinder Blocks. I remember seeing on the Gen Con preview thing, and I was like, oh, that looks like a cute little box. It's like a dexterity game about drawing, building up a fire, which apparently over 30,000 copies have sold. But because I went and picked up other stuff from Alley Cat, whichever one I mentioned, that was by them. Oh, Happy Home. And I was like, oh yeah, here it is. So they had this, but apparently, ow, I hit my elbow. They had three others. So I don't know if like these are all just like, because this is the Storm Edition that's waterproof, that I guess adds rain. This one is, I think it adds just new cards. I'm really hoping I didn't just buy three different boxes, but the way she was describing it made it seem like they were just different conditions in each one. And it looks adorable. And if I did just buy 4 copies for no reason, then I mean, I'll just hand them out to people. I mean, looks like a little Altoids tin. But I've been into dexterity games a lot more lately. They're just so much fun to play, and so easy to get to the table and have a fantastic time. So I think Tinderblocks could be a very cute game. And I'm about to go to Oregon, so that'll be a great game to bring to. It's gonna be light and not cost me an arm and a leg to haul it. But yeah, that was Tinderblocks. The other one that was by Indie Board and Dice is a party game called Top Tier. This one is basically tierless, and the only thing that was at Indie Board and Dice that I cared about, because everything else is for Aeon's End, that I'm waiting for my copy of that. And they had Astronites and their expansions there, but Astronites was like, hey, this is really good. It's Aeon's End, but space. Slightly different, but I'm pretty much all in on Aeon's End at this point. I can't just now transition. And they're so close, I definitely don't need both. But yeah, I guess this is like the concept of the tier list, which these type of discussion-based party games, I'm all about. Kind of like Spectrum and where you're just going to talk about why you did, your point of view and why you rank things the way you did. Those are my favorite type of party games. So, yeah, we'll see how Top Tier is. Boom. Let's see. What games did I demo? I demoed Altered. That was like kind of like a big booth. Very colorful and bright about I think the worldwide release is in September. I knew nothing about the game. Like, I was walking around and there happened to be an open table, and some guy was waiting, and I was like, oh sure. So him and I played the demo, and he knew a little bit about it, and it's very unique. Like, they're doing a lot of really cool things, but I was like, oh, is this a CCG, an LCG? And they were like TCG, and I was like mentally like, I'm 100% out. I am not touching another TCG. But one cool thing about that is if you don't know Altered, all of their cards have a QR code that when you buy the physical copy, you can scan it and you own the digital copy. So they're doing the digital thing too, so you can play it both physical or digital. But if you buy all the physical stuff, you can play it digital, and that's awesome. And I think what's also really cool is if you own it digitally, you kind of own the card, so you can print it. And that is fascinating. Like, I actually, for that alone, hope the game pops off. But it was really neat. It was like, yeah, unique deck construction, booster packs, and you were trying to control 2 sides of like a hero zone and a companion zone, and try and have them meet in the middle from terrain. It was really unique. I probably will not get into it because I like deck construction as a secondary option. But it was really cool. So if you like TCGs, I highly recommend checking out Altered. Let's see. Here's another game that's kind of been popping off lately, I feel. Mindbug. And Mindbug Beyond Evolution. And Mindbug Beyond Eternity. I had heard a little bit about this game, and it's co-designed, I guess, by Richard Garfield. And I demoed this before actually buying it. And I think this game has a lot going for it. It's very tiny. All of these are individual, like standalone expansions, but you can combine them. it's so quick. Like, it's literally like however many cards, 48 cards. You shuffle them and deal 10 out to each, and then that's what you got to work with. Gives me like the same concept of Res Arcana or Res Arcana. That, but what's neat is every card is kind of like really powerful. But if you play a really powerful card, you have a Mind Bug card that allows you to steal that from them. And that is such a unique twist on it. It kind of also has Epic vibes, but I really don't like Epic. Basically, to me, that's top deck the game. But this one, I enjoyed quite a bit. So yeah, got all of that as well. Got a lot of actually like 1v1 competitive games, funny enough. I don't know why, but I do really like 1v1 games, especially if they could be wacky. And even then, my demo was like over like that. It was, I think the guy I was playing with misheard the demoer, and because like the Mind Bug, you have to decide if you want to use when the person plays the card. And I think he thought you could do it at any time, so he let me play a card that was really powerful that he couldn't counter, and that was pretty much spelling doom for him. But I mean, even then, even if you have an unbalanced game, then the game's over like that. Start, shuffle, deal out. No deck instruction, no precons, nothing like that. It's like, oh, okay. But even then, if you have a really powerful card, then you just take it. It's just cool. It's a cool idea. All right. Next up, this one's funny. So, it's the expansion to Decorum. Now, I have a small series on Decorum on the channel that my ex-wife and I were playing. And we had quit playing because we just were exhausted from it. And I still have Decorum, and I have still continued to play Decorum because I do really like this game. I think this is one of the better games that Floodgate has put out recently. But they made this expansion, Moving Out, which apparently is about moving out because the relationship didn't work out when you were passive-aggressive. Shocker. But I went up to Ben. He's the founder of Floodgate and has been a friend since, since Sagrada came out. Yeah, I think my first Gen Con is whenever I met Ben. I think that's when they first started with Sagrada. I think that's correct. But every year I always go talk to him. He's a super nice guy. Him and his wife are just so awesome. But I was like, hey, you were supposed to be working on an app for Decorum. Where is it? And he's like, dude, it's out. I'm like, what? I'm like, you fucking liar. I'm like, there's no way. He's like, yeah. He's like, he told me the website, and I'm like, oh, it's a web app. He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, why didn't you say something in an update? He's like, we did. So apparently, I'm just an asshole and completely missed it. But he's like, yeah, I'll show it to you. So the web app is out for Decorum, if you're not aware. And it has daily things. Now, it's not as expansive as I was hoping. I was really hoping he would have added something that showcases what an example looks like when the scenario is fulfilled. But other than that, when you host a game, you play it, everyone puts in the code, and then the criteria cards are all on there, and you can share, and it pulls it up. It's really slick. But yeah, I thought that was really funny. But yeah, very excited to try the expansion for Decorum. Yeah, that was that. Then I was actually able to pick up my pre-order for Barcelona. So definitely will be doing a review. I plan on doing a review for everything I'm showing here, but one of the reasons for doing these types of videos is so you guys can let me know which ones you are more interested in. But yeah, expansion to Barcelona by Danny Garcia, and very excited to see what this brings because Barcelona was a sleeper hit for me of last year. Then, while I'm on the topic of Danny Garcia, let's take a look at Windmill Valley. Now, I got this for two reasons. One, I think the cover is gorgeous, and I think the cover for Barcelona is gorgeous. So, whoever the artist is for Danny Garcia's games, They're killing it, at least for me. Oh, Pedro Cadeco, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the other two, but they're awesome. Now, the second reason I picked this up was because Danny Garcia is the designer. They had another one that was new by Board and Dice, and it was something reef. It was a reef kind of game where you're going and exploring the reefs. And I did this fucking I should have picked it up because last year there was Barcelona and Nucleum, and I picked up Barcelona, and I'm like, okay, I'll stay away from Nucleum. Ended up picking up Nucleum, and it's fantastic. So I should have picked up the Reef, because if I picked up Windmill Valley and this is awesome, then I bet you the Reef is going to be awesome too. But I don't know. I limit myself now on Euro games because I kind of have this new difference of fun, I guess. Like I'm talking about like, oh hey, Evian is fun, or my campaign games are fun, or dexterity games are fun. And I don't have the same type of feel. I still like Euros, but I'm kind of limiting myself on certain ones. So, but yeah, Windmill Valley, don't know much about it, just going off the designer alone and based off of, certain other high-profile games that everyone loves but me. Where did this come from? It's a little Fog of Love pin, I think. It is a Fog of Love pin. Where did that come from? Has that been like punctured in a box? I probably have like a hole in one of my boxes. Actually, is it going to be in my Decorum box? Huh. I don't know where that came from. Well, I got a Decorum pin, or a Fog of Love pin. Let's put that there. This one was given to me for free. It's called Magic Rabbit. I do not think this is going to be good. Any game that's given for free is typically not their best game. One other expansion that I was actually looking to get is the Aquatica expansion by Arcane Wonders. Aquatica is a really cool card play game where you actually like have different tiers of cards that go up and you get more and more rewards. Now they have another expansion for that, Cold Waters, I believe. So this was announced, and I was able to grab it. Again, companies were doing it right this year. Yeah, games sold out and things like that, but they were sold out by like Sunday or by the evening, like early afternoon, evening. So like it wasn't like, oh, sorry, like it's been 1 week. No, it's I know the exhibit hall opened at 10. It's 10:05. Everything's sold out. Yeah. So, very excited to try this. I need to replay Aquatica because it's been a hot second. Alright, we are nearing the end. I know it's been a lot. I feel like last year my Gen Con haul was like, yeah, I got 3 things. This one, CDSK, I think is what it's called. Yeah, it's a trivia. This is a trivia game. And I do like, okay, so I don't like Trivial Pursuit, or I don't like certain trivia games where it's like, okay, clearly you know more useless knowledge than me. But I love plays on trivia, like Wits and Wagers, where it's like, how tall is the Eiffel Tower? Well, I sure as shit don't know, but hey, they've been to Paris. I bet you they have. Like, you kind of bet on who you think might know the answer, or is closest. This is kind of like that as well, in that it's a play on a trivia game where it's kind of like you're given a subject, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how well, and I think it's all scales, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you know, yada, yada, yada. So on the back it says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you know Christmas movies? And you're kind of like basing it on yourself. You're like, Christmas movies, I'll give an 8. And it's like, what jazz great composed the music for A Charlie Brown Christmas? Well, shit, I don't know. Maybe I guess I don't know. So you're kind of like trying to be confident, but you also don't want to be so easy. Like the first one is Die Hard, a Christmas movie. That's bullshit. It is not. It's not about Christmas. It just happens on Christmas. But the one on here, where was it? Because I don't know Christmas movies at like much. Number 7 is so they rank them easy, normal, difficult, expert. What is the song everyone sings at the end of Elf to make Santa's sleigh fly? I have no idea. I feel like I know the song she was singing in the shower, so what does that say about me? But I don't know. This just seems like it could be a lot of fun. Oh, curious, delightful, seasoned, and knowledge are why it's CDSK. But trivia game, again, a party game that just feels like it'll be a fun. And it was at Hachette, and Hachette is kind of a company that kind of is popping off, especially with Sky Team, which is another Hachette game. Nekojima. I feel like this was their Gen Con release. Maintain balance on the Cat Island. A dexterity game, again, that I think, welcome to Nekojima Japan's Cat Island. Oh, is this a real actual island? That would be cool. But it looks like, I mean, one of the arts is very cool, but it's a dexterity game with like these blocks and stuff and strings. So, looks like it played competitively or cooperatively. Again, I don't know much about it, but I like cats and I like dexterity. So, Nekojima. Then, another thing that they released, which I wasn't aware of, is a storage solution for Nidavellir. And this makes me happy because I guess they have, what is it? I think it has better coins. So the coins are now poker chips, and it has a more ergonomic storage. So I was also able I picked up quite a few playmats. I picked up the playmats for Mindbug, picked up playmats for other things, got the playmats for Nidavellir. So I'm all about storage solutions. I mean, I've moved recently, so I've had to condense quite a bit. So I've been getting 3D printed inserts and anything to help reduce space. And that's not even if I was moving. It would be for anything. It's like just figure out ways for gamers to store their game. But then we have Horizons of Spirit Island. This you can get anywhere. What bums me out is they actually sold the like premium boards, like what comes in. So these boards in here are very like flimsy and thin because this is mass market, and that's fine. But because I have everything for Spirit Island, I didn't want 4 spirits to be like just a different quality. So they sold those spirits. And what I thought, because I bought the spirits first, I was like, oh, cool. They were self-aware, and they realized if you don't want to own this content, but you own everything, you can buy the boards. Then I realized that those boards didn't actually have the spirit special cards or anything. So I had to go fucking buy this so I can actually get the content for those spirits. And now I just have the premium board. So it's like, I'm glad they have those, but it's like, man, just let people get the cards so I don't have to own this. But, oh well. It is what it is. That was Horizons of Spirit Island. Then I was finally able to pick up Arborea, or Arborea, which I also didn't realize was designed by Danny Garcia. I think I did know that, actually. But picked this up at Alley Cat Games around the same time I picked up Happy Home and Tinderblocks. Not around the same time, literally the same time. I have heard things about this, but this cover is gorgeous. Love the color scheme and the design. But yeah, it's a worker placement, right? Different use of workers, where you have like slides you go down for resources, big combos. Well, I'm excited that I was reminded that this was by Danny Garcia because, I mean, again, he nailed it on Barcelona for me. So that is Arborea. And the last one on this table, oh, sexy, is Shards of Infinity. This is the Saga collection, so it has everything that they've released for Shards of Infinity. I don't like to own many games that are Dominion-esque because if I like Dominion so much, why would I have a bunch of other deck builders? Which I know sounds like, well, if you like worker placement, why do you own a bunch of worker placement games? I understand what I said doesn't make sense. But whenever they're pure deck builders, never mind, I'm going to shut up because I'm just going to I'm going to be a hypocrite because I'm going to review Chemical Overlord in a sec. I don't have that for this, but it's like, it's shipping. So it's like, well, that's a deck builder. Anyway, Shards of Infinity. This is a unique one. I like it. I like how this is now everything's stored all in one. All the expansions, so I don't have to go out and find mini expansions. It was here. So yeah. And again, Gen Con, like they just like everyone there was just so bubbly. All the people who were working there. I was really intrigued with a lot of logistics this year, which was interesting. Like I talked to Foreteller, because if anyone has watched my channel, they know that I do series. I do a lot of series or campaign games, and typically I try and get audio narration. If your game doesn't have narration for it, I probably wait to see if it does, or just don't cover it because it's a lot of reading. And so I went and talked to Foreteller, and they were just awesome. The dude was very energetic. We were talking about Madara and how they're gearing up to, because Acts 2 and 3 should be coming out shortly, and they're doing a full-blown production. I was like, how do you get voice actors? And he was like, well, if we do it in-house, like we try to do it in-house. If we can't, then we go to casting websites or Discord and watch people do voices to see if they fit our idea of the character. That was really neat. And then he even did like a little small preview, because he was like, well, I'm doing the voice of Damocles, which is a character in Madara. And I was like, oh, it'd be really funny, like, if it wasn't even close to the voice that I have for him. And he's like, no, it's going to be more like this. And he did, like, a quick snippet, and it was awesome. I'm like, you were definitely in theater. But he was great. They have to just, I don't know. Everyone was just in a great mood. And maybe it was more me last year. But I don't know. Whenever we were talking to Adam from KDM, he brought it up. He was like, last year was weird. And I was like, thank you. Okay, someone also was kind of in a weird space from last year. I would love to know if people who went last year and this year, if you guys also had a similar vibe. Because, like, the feeling, again, that I had from this year is the same feeling I had the first couple years going. And I am so genuinely excited for next year. Not even about the games, just going again, because the channel's doing well. It's doing what I want it to do. It's getting enough connection. Because some guy, oh man, it was amazing. So when we were watching the demo for the Kingdom Death Monster, Pariah, the Pariah demo. As we were sitting there, this guy comes up to us, and he like leans in and he's like, hey, excuse me, do you know what the novelty is for this game? And I looked up at him in shock, and I was like, so many things ran through my brain. So if you're not familiar, what's the novelty of this game is an inside joke that me, Devin, and Keith have, because we had this weird, douchey guy ask that question at the Oathsworn booth. And he's just been a running joke. Now that's kind of like what we say whenever we're looking at games. It's like, so what's the novelty? This game's been done to death. So we make fun of him. And in my head, when he said that, were two things. It's like, did I get a second guy ask me this in a very serious way? Or is he like a fan? And he started cracking up, and I was like, oh, I'm like, do you watch the channel? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you. So I get enough of those. Like, it's not like people are running up to me and they're like, oh, I watch the channel. And if they do, they're probably trying to, kick my ass. You didn't like this game. But, like, that's what I'm wanting with, like, the channel. I don't want it to blow up, and now I have to make it a career. That's in the 9-10 years I've been doing it, I have never wanted to make it a job, but that's the interaction I'm wanting. The interactions I got this year with talking to designers. I went to the Oathsworn booth, speaking of Oathsworn, and was asking, hey, when we did a review for Oathsworn, some guy that works for your company commented. It was an awesome comment, and I showed the gentleman working. He's like, oh, that's Toby? I want to say Toby. I'd have to look at the comment. He's like, yeah, he's the founder of the company, or he's a co-founder. And I'm like, that's awesome. And then I talked to the guy who is designing Avalon, which is their next game, and I found out he's from Cologne, which is where I have family. And I was just talking to him about, Germany and Cologne, and after he gave me his spiel on Avalon. Just things like that are what made this con great. So that was all the sporadic of games. Now, I got some bigger games. Here, boom, I was able to get a copy of Slay the Spire. And I should also mention, in case anyone is like, of course you're saying great things, you get all this for free. Fuck all if I do. Yeah, if I was sitting here talking about how I got all these games for free, I'd be in a very good mood. I'm already in a good mood, but no, I did not get any of this for free. Okay, to be fair, I got Overlords of Infamy for free, but I technically worked. So I was paid to get it. Everything else here is my own income. Slay the Spire, I was able to get a copy of the collector's edition. And funny enough, not counting the games I demoed like Evian or Mindbug, or I think that's it. This is the only game that I played in my spare time. Slay the Spire was a game that was on my list, and I the first day when I was looking around, I was like, oh yeah, I guess they're not here. Like I wasn't like, you know, I didn't have to have this, but I was like, I'll check it out because I knew the Kickstarter like whenever it came by, and I was like, it's so close to the video game. IP games, I'm not too keen on because it's like if they're so close to the video game, I'll just play the video game. But then Slay the Spire came out, word of mouth was really good for it, and people kept talking up the co-op. I'm like, because then I played Slay the Spire, I'm like, this might be fun co-op. I'm like, okay, if it's there, I'll pick it up. Saw it, I finally walked by Madigo the first day, at the end of the first day, and I was like, oh, here it is. And she's like, yeah, we're sold out, but we're going to have like 100 copies every day. And I'm like, okay, cool. So the next day, I waited in line and was able to get a copy. Funny enough, there was a guy also waiting who, like, before the doors opened, who wanted one. I'm like, hey, man, like, we can work something out. Like, if you get there before me, you buy me a copy, I'll pay you back, or vice versa. But we never exchanged contact information, so I hope he didn't buy a second copy and couldn't find me. But I was able to get it. And yeah, and I think, because I asked them, I'm like, I heard you guys were doing, I think some people in my comment sections were talking about this, and I think they're doing a reprint in September? I want to say September. Something about them do it. I don't know if it's another Kickstarter or if it's something on their website, but this was the only game that I got to play in my free time, and it was Sunday, because the exhibit hall closes early on Sunday, and I'm like, finally, we can go somewhere and play. And I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on it, because that'll be for a review. But I will give you a sneak peek. It should be positive. I need to play it more, because I will say the game we played, we went to a hotel, and there was already a group in there playing, and one of the guys was raving about it, and he, as we were setting up, he actually came by and he taught the game to us because he loved it, and so he was so nice, and he was there to ask, we asked him questions and he would answer it, and he would kind of talk about, he's like, oh, I tried to break the game, and he was talking about, strategies for it, so he really loved it. But yeah, we got through Act 1 and lost to the boss when he had 1 HP left, and I was like, roguelikes! But that's my first playthrough, but I want to play it more before doing the review. So that's Slay the Spire. Next is Guilty Gear Strive. So this is by Level 99. I have literally never played Guilty Gear. I don't do fighter games on video games just because I don't have the time to get good at those. But this is by Level 99. It's on their Exceed system, and I was like, okay, like I don't want to go get into Exceed because I like BattleCon so much, and Exceed has a bunch of just different boxes all over the place. It feels like it's a huge pain in the ass, and this was all condensed. Now, this box is stupidly oversized. This is dumb because, and I'll actually show this. Like I haven't opened up any of these mainly because they've been in shrink. But this is what this stupid box looks like. It's clean. Like, here are all the boxes, like the which I'm so glad they have for the characters, and like a thing where you have the metal slots. But I guess the Kickstarter has another player mat and a spot for 2 more coins, but that's pretty much it. So I have a player mat. I have these acrylic standees, which are sexy as hell, which you don't need, but I was like, okay, well, why not? But this is stupid. Like, come on. Well, I guess I'd rather have a storage solution than not one. So yeah, like, I do like BattleCon a lot, but I'm like, maybe Exceed will just be easier to play. But, got Guilty Gear, and, like I said, 1v1 games. Mindbug, Evian, Guilty Gear. I guess 3 games, in terms of, like, 1v1, like, battlers. So yeah, that's this. I know they said that they want to do more for the game, but they have to work with whoever the video game company is. I imagine they would. That'd be weird if unless this game didn't do well or something, but I'm actually going to put this over to the side. So yeah, that is Guilty Gear Strive. Curious to see what it is, because I know it's completely, like, it's Exceed, just Guilty Gear. But kind of weird that they didn't have it in their Exceed, like, because I know they have, like, Street Fighter and Mega Man and a few other IPs, but another game kind of similar to Guilty Gear, I guess, in terms of theme, maybe. I saw someone had a physical copy at Gen Con, but I didn't know anything about it to buy it. But I did pre-order it because I had their pledge manager open, and it was Iconoclash. And it's funny because I was sitting down kind of organizing Slay the Spire, and so I heard someone go, "This is Super Smash Bros. The board game," and I was like, "Whoom." Because I've always been like, why is Super Smash Bros. Not a board game? And I know why. It's because no board gaming company could afford that. No, there's no way in hell any board game company has Nintendo money to be able to pay other IPs licensing rights to put in their game. The fact that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate exists is a testament to the game. But it didn't. So I looked over. I'm like, hey, excuse me, can you tell me about that game? Because Super Smash Bros. Is the only fighter game that I actually play. And so he showed me the back, and I was like, it's like, it is an arena. Like, it looks like an arena, and you knock them off the edge, and they take damage, and they respawn. And then he's like, oh, it has all these different characters. So there's characters from Level 99, from BattleCon, characters from Millennium Blades, from other games. And I'm like, that's genius. If they're able to go around and get different characters from people's games, you get Nightingale from Madara, you get whatever, Catherine from Isofarian Guard, and put them in the game, that's genius. So, very excited. I did pre-order that, or backed it on their pledge manager, so very excited to see what that's like. So that's cool. Other demos I played. I did play the Monster Hunter World demo with Devin, because he was a huge Monster Hunter fan. And I've been doing a Primal series, and I'm like, okay, well, let me go see what this is about. First of all, the guys at Steamforge, they're nice. I don't think they've smiled in their entire life. At least the people running the demo. And to be fair, it was Sunday. They're probably tapped out, but man, some of the guys just made it difficult to talk to. But the one teaching us Monster Hunter World was good. It was interesting. Completely different in how it plays from Primal, but I think the designer of Monster Hunter World did the Dark Souls game, and that kind of makes sense with how the boss fights work. So I didn't pick it up because I wanted to talk to the designer on how everything else works. How does the crafting work? How does the story stuff before the fight work? But he wasn't there at the time. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up Monster Hunter World at some point, because the boss fights were good. I was concerned because the health for the Raxalos fight was only at 30 when they were supposed to be 80, and it's like, oh, it hits for 9. It's like, okay, that's gonna one shot me. Like, I guess I'll dodge. So it has a stamina system. I am intrigued. If I'm ever just like, if I ever run out of campaign games to play, maybe I'll look into it. I don't know, but it was good. The boss fight, at least the demo was good. Okay, which one do I want to show next? I have 2 more to show. And we will do this one. Well, we'll do that, and oh god. It's kind of, ugh. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Oh, my knee. Ugh. There you go. You can see the title. Age Ammonia. Oh god. Whew. Huh, first world problems, right? Oh god, it was too... My games were too heavy. Alright. I'm gonna be completely honest. This is an impulse buy. And you might be thinking, but Seth, you just said you love narrative-driven campaign games. And I do. I've backed to the second printing for it. This was the first game I bought at the con. And not even because I beelined it for their booth. I was just walking around and happened to come across it. And I talked to the designer, and he was very nice. Enjoyed talking to him a lot. And... God, out of breath. And I was just asking him questions, and he like opened up the box and he was like showing me everything. And I was like, because they had a very small table. I think it was their first Gen Con, and I was like, dude, you don't have to open up everything. I was just asking, and so I have their second printing done, and it was like, do I buy this so I have it now? Even though this is the first printing and they have some errata, but apparently the errata is all available on Board Game Geek or on their website. And I was like, I should have just thought, am I going to get this played before that second printing delivers? Because I have so many campaign games, am I going to get this played? I should have said no to buying this, but like Slay the Spire, this one was also high on my list, so I'm like, oh, what the hell? And it actually was a really good deal, because I got the poker chips, the metal coins, and this map. It's not like cloth, but it's not paper. I don't know what that material is, but that was really nice. He charmed me. Him and his, I think, Finnish accent it's like, that accent. Just, all right, yeah, man, I'll buy it. Like, he could have told me to do whatever. And yeah, so I mean, when I get my second printing, I'll clearly sell the copy, the extra copy, not because I don't price gouge, because I'm not a dick, but to someone who wants to get a copy. But I did. So they had Thunder Road, the Maximum Chrome edition, and they actually had a lot of copies of that. And I was talking to the dude in that booth, and I was like, so is this everything? He's like, yeah, the only thing you don't have is the new expansion. And I was like, oh, do I buy this one too? Because I've backed Thunder Road as well. I'm like, do I get this now or wait till it comes out? And I said no to that one. So I'm proud of myself. But they were like, yeah, it should be around November when that delivers. I'm like, all right, I can wait for Thunder Road. Should have been reversed. Thunder Road would probably be easier to get to the table, but I enjoy these games more. And the guy didn't have an accent, so yeah, that's why I have Age Ammonia here. And I also did girl math, and I was mad at myself because as I was walking around, I was like, oh, I think I bought something for around the same price. It was like, oh, since I didn't spend $160 on Thunder Road, me buying this other thing for $160 is free. And I was like, wait a minute, no, that's not how that fucking works. It's like, it's not, just because I didn't spend money somewhere else doesn't mean spending it elsewhere is free. God, I was mad at myself. But I kind of get it now. I kind of get it. But yeah, Age Ammonia, I've only heard great things. Funny, my girlfriend was asking me like, oh, what this is about, and I was like, I now have to explain the game, it's another fantasy game. Like, it's a different world. I didn't realize, oh, wait, how do you explain the differences of these massive campaign games without just saying, oh, it's fantasy? All right. So, what other games? Did I demo any other games? Heroescape. Yeah, the new Heroescape I demoed, and it was a simple version, but I was so tempted to pick it up. Like, after playing the demo, I was like, I think I could do it. But luckily I talked myself out of it. I had enough willpower to be like, I know I will never set it up. It was so much fun coming back and playing it, because I think I played when I was like 8 or 9, and it looks the exact same. And they were like, well, we're playing the simple version for the demo, which is basically super simple. Like, that's like for kids. But then I was looking at the back of the cards they had for the demo, and they are a wall of text. And I'm like, okay, yes, this is such a fun premise. I love the components. I guess you could still pre-order it on their website, so if I really just convince myself, I could still go get it. And they almost got me, though. It was a very nice nostalgia hit. But I know I'll never set it up. Alright, and the last game that I will be talking about is... Hold on. Let's get that. Let's get this. And let's pick it up. And that is Divinity: Original Sin. With the miniatures and all the expansions, because I don't have enough campaign stuff. Yeah. Now again, this was this was another IP game that I remember looking at the Kickstarter for and going, probably not. Again, if it's so much like Divinity, why don't I just play Divinity? And I had talked to the guy who was at the booth, and he was very nice, and he actually remembered me because I kept going back a couple times. I remember going back to talk to one of the guys at the booth, and the other one looks over, he's like, oh, hey, Seth's back. And I'm like, hey, all right, you remember me, that's nice. It's always nice to be recognized when you go somewhere. And so I watched videos. This was the only one that I watched a video on. And I was like, man, the combat does look clean. All right. So I went there, and apparently actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I went there, and I went to the one running the demo, or kind of like they had it set up a little bit. I'm like, all right, I got one question for you. Is this the same story? And he's like, it has similar beats, but it is a different story, because where's the fun in that? And I'm like, all right, sign me up. Now, he could have also been lying, or he could have had no clue, but to be fair, I haven't beaten Divinity. So even if it is the same story, at least I might finish it out in here. But yeah, so I picked up the all-in for it, as that's what this is. And I guess they were also, one thing that made it easier for me to buy it is they're like, yeah, we'll hold it for you till the end of the day, and you can come pick it up. And I was like, oh, that's a godsend. So many more companies need to do that. Gen Con needs to open up a fucking locker checkout system, like a warehouse storage for your games. Like, that would just be amazing. So I picked it up, and apparently when I went to go get it, they had oversold, and I almost was gonna have to have them ship me my copy, which also would have been the end of the world. But I guess someone else had them do that, so I was able to get my physical copy, which, to be fair, I probably would have rather had them ship it. But I missed his name. I think I have it written down, or he has my contact info written down. But I was talking to him just about my YouTube channel, because I love these kinds of games. And he was like, hey man, you make content for the game? I'll keep an eye out, and I'll send it to the right people. And I was like, who is this guy? And I have no idea, but I think he worked for Larian Studios, which would have been awesome. And I wish I had his name because, like, he was super chill. So, and he didn't give me any details. Like, I don't have any insider knowledge, but he alluded to the fact that they're working on something. And my assumption is a Baldur's Gate 3 board game. That's again, I have no fucking clue. And this isn't like me going like, oh, I signed an NDA, and also I'll get executed if I break it. I clearly, look at my subscriber count, look at my views on my videos. I'm not any fucking big shot. I just talked to people, and he gave me some allusion to that they were working on other stuff. So, might be that I really wanted to just kind of, if I wanted to talk to designers, I wanted to set up stuff to potentially just get more review copies, do more Kickstarter content for the games that I like, so I don't have to feel bad when I don't like a game. Especially for Kickstarter games. Like, if I buy your game or I back your game and I don't like it, I don't give a shit if I don't like it. But I feel bad whenever it's a review copy that they sent me and I don't like it, and I have to give them that and be like, yeah, post it, I guess, or don't. I'm gonna post it. It's just not, I don't know. But yeah, so might be some big stuff coming up in the future, or none at all. That's fine too. But yeah, this is everything I got for Gen Con. So I have a few ideas for some videos. Need to reach out to some people. I got some business cards. Might get more review copy stuff. I'm wanting it to be still the exact same channel. You're going to get a no holds barred kind of thing from me. You're still going to get my honest opinion. I told these guys, I mean, they work with Larian, and they didn't really count, but I told Osworn, I told Adam for KDM, I told the people for Ivion, 8 Studios, everyone that I told and got business cards for or ways to reach out. I also talked to the guys for Dawn of Madness. All those people, I was like, look, if you have review stuff for me to do, like, I don't charge. It's like, I just want to play the game ahead of time. Even if you give me a review copy and you're like, hey, send it to someone else or send it back, great. I'm not expecting a free game. I just want to be like, hey, I got to play the game. It was a lot of fun. Here it is. Kind of like what the One Stop Co-op Shop does. And they've become a YouTube channel that I watch pretty frequently. Same mentality there, except they're more family friendly. I'm not. And that's fine. So yeah. Oh, Dawn of Madness. I also did find out, because I've done my Dawn of Madness review. I went there, and Byron the writer was there. Always a bubbly guy. He's super nice to talk to. I did ask him, I was like, hey. Damn it. I was trying to be like Obama and kill a fly on camera. And have PETA come after me. But I was like, I gotta ask you, man. Love Dawn of Madness. Are you doing audio for that game? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. My throat thanks you. So about that game specifically, I think they're going back on Kickstarter, and they're going to do a Sins expansion, which should add the 7 Deadly Sins. And they're going to add in it's either going to be in-house where they do it, or they're going to outsource it, depending on how much it costs. But they are going to do an audio for that game. So overall, this Gen Con was awesome. Like, not even for all the stuff that I got. The demos I got to play were fun. The atmosphere was something that I feel like has been missing, at least for me, for years. And I feel like I came back from church camp. Where you're like super high and you're like, oh God, I'll do everything for God. And then of course, a week later, you're just like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm not changing myself. Luckily, it's not to that extreme, but it has slightly reinvigorated my passion for the game. Like, I'm wanting to do more ideas and play games and reach out and do different content. So, yeah, this was awesome. So, again, anything here that you want to see reviews for or series for, now granted, I have Age of Amonia and Divinity as campaign games, but Evian, for example, I can cover every starter box. I can do rankings for I'll probably do everything I'll do eventually. Like, I'll do a ranking of the Evian classes. I'll play Slay the Spire, probably even as not a series, but maybe a mini campaign to do Acts 1, 2, and 3, or see how far I can get. Might do a tournament for Guilty Gear. Might do a tournament for Aristea. You know, those types of ideas are things that I will do at some point. But if there's things that you want to see me review first, or series that you would want to see ahead of others, then let me know in the comments below. If you went to Gen Con, I very much want to know your thoughts on the convention, if it was a better experience for you overall, and how you thought it compares to years past. That has me way more intrigued than anything else. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Anyone who watches and supports the channel, I do really appreciate it. I think it's still super fun to do, and yeah, always looking to do more. So, that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.